In this video, I'll be covering details on AWS pricing. There are three fundamental characteristics that you pay for with AWS: compute, storage, and data transfer out. The characteristics vary depending on the AWS product you're using. However, fundamentally, these are the core characteristics that have the greatest impact on cost. Although you are charged for data transfer out of AWS, there is no charge for inbound data transfer or data transfer between other services within the same region. The outbound data transfer is aggregated across Amazon EC2, Amazon S3, Amazon RDS, SimpleDB, SQS, SNS, and the VPC, and then charged at the outbound data transfer rate. This charge then appears on the monthly statement as AWS Data Transfer Out. Let's break down the pricing characteristics for commonly used AWS products: Amazon EC2, the Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon Simple Storage Service, or S3, Block Store, or Amazon EBS, the Amazon Relational Database Service, or RDS, and Amazon CloudFront. First, let's explore Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, or EC2. EC2 is a web service that provides resizable compute capacity in the cloud. Amazon EC2's simple web interface allows you to obtain and configure capacity with minimal friction. It provides complete control of your computing resources on Amazon's proven compute environment. Amazon EC2 changes the economics of computing by charging you only for the capacity that you actually use. When you begin to estimate the cost of using Amazon EC2, you need to consider the following: clock hours of server time. Resources incur charges when they are running. For example, from the time Amazon EC2 instances are launched until they are terminated, or from the time an EIP is allocated until the time it is deallocated. Machine configuration. Consider the physical capacity of the EC2 instance you choose. Instance pricing varies from the region, operating system, number of cores, memory. With on-demand instances, you will pay for compute capacity by the hour with no required minimum commitments. Reserved instances will give you the option to make a one-time payment or even no upfront payment at all for each instance you want to reserve, and in turn, you will receive a significant discount on the same hourly usage charge for that instance. With spot instances, you can bid for unused EC2 capacity. You will also need to consider the number of instances and load balancing as well. With the number of instances, you can provision multiple instances of EC2 and EBS resources that allow you to handle peak load. For load balancing, an elastic load balancer could be used to distribute traffic among your EC2 instances. The number of hours the ELB runs and the amount of data it processes all contribute to its monthly cost. When we look at specific product options, we look at things like detailed monitoring. You can use CloudWatch to monitor your Amazon EC2 instances, and by default, basic monitoring is enabled and is available at no additional cost. However, for a fixed monthly rate, you can opt for detailed monitoring, which includes 7 pre-selected metrics that are now recorded once a minute. Partial months charged on an hourly pro instance hour rate. For auto-scaling, we'll automatically adjust the number of Amazon EC2 instances in your deployment according to the conditions that you define. This service is available at no additional charge beyond the CloudWatch fees. For Elastic IP addresses, you can have one Elastic IP address associated with a running instance at no cost at all. As we look at operating systems and software packages, it's important to know the operating system price is included in your instance price. AWS has made it easy for you by partnering with vendors like Microsoft, IBM, and other vendors to simplify running many commercial software packages on your EC2 instances. Microsoft SQL Server on Windows. For commercial software packages that AWS does not provide, such as non-standard operating systems like Oracle applications, Windows Server applications such as SharePoint or Exchange, you'll still need to obtain a license directly from the vendors. You can also bring your existing licenses to the cloud through specific vendor programs, such as the Microsoft License Mobility through their software assurance program. Amazon S3 is storage for the internet. It provides a simple web services interface that can be used to store and retrieve any amount of data at any time from anywhere on the web. So when you begin to estimate the cost of Amazon S3, here's what you need to consider. First, the storage class. Now, standard storage is designed to provide 11 nines of durability, 99.999999999%, as well as 4 nines of availability. Now, standard infrequent access, or SIA, is a storage option within S3 that allow you to reduce your costs by storing less frequently accessed data at a slightly lower levels of redundancy than the Amazon S3 standard storage. Standard infrequent access provide the same 11 nines of durability at Amazon S3 with 99.9% availability inside a given year. It's important to note that each class has different rates. When it comes to storage, the number and size of objects stored inside your Amazon S3 buckets, as well as the type of storage, goes towards your storage costs. For requests, the number and type of requests. The GET requests incur charges at different rates than other requests, such as puts or copies. Data transfer, of course, is about the amount of data transferred out of the AWS S3 region. Amazon EBS will provide you block-level storage volumes for use within your EC2 instances. Now, EBS volumes are off-instance storage that persist independently from the life of the instance, and they're analogous to virtual disks in the cloud. Amazon EBS has 3 different volume types: the general purpose, SSDs, provision IOPS, which are also SSDs, as well as magnetic spinning platters. These 3 volume types differ in performance characteristics and cost, so you can choose the right storage performance and price for the needs of your application. When you begin to estimate the cost of Amazon EBS, you need to consider the following. Volumes. The volume storage for all of EBS volume types is charged by the amount you provision in gigabytes per month until you release the storage. Input-output operations per second, or IOPS. Now, I/O is included in purpose volumes, while for EBS magnetic volumes, the I/O is charged by the number of requests you make to your volume. With provisioned IOPS volumes, you are also charged by the amount you provision in IOPS multiplied by the percentage of days you provision for the month. Snapshots. The Amazon EBS engine provides you the ability to back up your snapshots of your data to the Amazon S3 backbone for durable recovery. If you want EBS snapshots, then the added cost is a per gigabyte per month of the amount of data you store. And when we talk about data transfer, again, we take into account the amount of data transferred out of your application. Inbound data transfer is free, and of course, all outbound data transfer charges are tiered for volume discounts. Amazon RDS is a web service that makes it easy to set up, operate, and scale relational databases on AWS. It provides cost-efficient and resizable capacity while managing time-consuming database administration tasks so you can focus on your applications and your business. When you begin to estimate the cost of Amazon RDS, you need to consider the following. The clock hours of server time. The resources will incur charges while they're running. For example, from the time you launch a database instance until you terminate the database instance. The database characteristics themselves, such as the physical capacity of the database you choose, will affect how much you're charged. Database characteristics vary depending on the database engine, size, memory class, even the database purchase type. When you use on-demand database instances, you pay for the compute capacity for each hour your database instance runs with no required minimum commitments. With reserved database instances, You can make a low one-time upfront payment for each database instance you wish to reserve for a 1-year or even a 3-year term. The number of database instances. With Amazon RDS, you can provision multiple database instances to handle your peak loads. Provisioned storage. There is no additional charge for backup storage to up to 100% of your provisioned database storage for an active database instance. After the database instance is terminated, you can keep that backup storage, and it's simply billed per gigabyte per month. Any additional storage, that's the amount of backup storage that's in addition to the provisioned storage amount, is also billed per gigabyte per month. And last, we look at requests. That's the number of input and output requests to the database itself. We look at deployment type. You can deploy your database instance to just a single availability zone, which is analogous to running your database in a single standalone data center. Or you can run RDS across multiple availability zones, which would be analogous to having a secondary data center. This will give you enhanced availability and durability. Running in this mode, storage and I/O charges may vary. It simply depends on the number of availability zones you choose to deploy to. As always, when we talk about data transfer, all inbound data transfer is free. Outbound data transfer costs, they're tiered based on volume. The last product we will discover is Amazon CloudFront. Amazon CloudFront is a web service for content delivery. It integrates with other Amazon Web Services to give you an easy way to distribute content to end users across the globe with low latency, high data transfer speeds, and no required minimum commitments. As you begin to estimate the cost of Amazon CloudFront, here's what you need to consider. Traffic distribution. Data transfer and request pricing varies across geographic regions, and the pricing is based on the edge location through which your content is served. Requests, the number and type of requests made, as well as the geographic region in which the requests are made. Data transfer out is the amount of data transferred out of your Amazon CloudFront edge locations. The best way to estimate costs is to examine the fundamental characteristics for each AWS service, estimate your usage for each characteristic, and then map that usage to the prices posted on the AWS website.